So here we go, guys. Episode 4 of the Wedding Party Playlist. I'm Tony Legend, joined by Dave Ralston.
Pleasure.
Back once again with another pod. In this episode, we're talking about things that make our job harder. And I kind of want to touch on this because it's just human nature that if something has made your job harder, it's going to affect your mood potentially. Mm-hmm. And as a DJ, you are the mood of the room. You're trying to set the vibe and the tone and stuff. So the less things that make our job harder, the better for everybody. So I kind of just want to iron out a few of the things that have kind of made our job harder, or can make it harder, or make it just a gig in general harder. Sometimes it's a certain venue that makes the thing harder. Sometimes it's a certain procedure or a load in or a load out or something. But is there anything that comes to mind, Dave, for you that can make your job harder?
I would say first and foremost, from an entertainment perspective, from a DJing perspective, when the bar is in a different room,
That's a big one.
It's such a vibe killer in the sense of, like you have to then change the way you do it in terms of how you layer your music, and you don't want to play a big song that is lost. Because it's a case of you play that song, people have maybe just walked to the bar and they're thinking, I'm not going to go back for it, or by the time people hear it, you're more than halfway through the song, and they're coming in to hear the song, and then the song's over, and then you think, right, I need to try and keep them in the room by playing the same type of music, but because the bar's outside the room, you're only getting their attention span for another 5 minutes if even, and then they're back out at the bar.
It makes the dynamics hard whenever there's people at the bar and it's far away from the dance floor. If it's a bit more compact, it does definitely make it a bit easier, and keeping people there.
100%.
You're trying to keep people in. The thing that just one of the things that I find just makes my job harder, not so much that I actually want them in there, but if the load-in's difficult, there's some of the country manners and stuff. I forget which even one it is. It's a bit of a drive, but it's basically gravel lane the whole way down. Very, very hard. No trolleys or nothing.
Yeah.
Very long, so you're carting all your stuff down a big long lane, up and down, up and down, up and down, sweat pouring off me.
Yeah.
T-shirt soaked and stuff,
are you good to start in 10 minutes?
It's a hard start to the night. Like, it's a bit of a workout, but we can't complain too much. I know. I love my job and I love doing weddings and stuff, but there are just little things sometimes that make our job like that little bit harder. One thing, once you actually get there, is whenever you've got maybe a few people in your ear at the same time.
Yes.
Like, literally like a little bit of a queue, or they all come to you kind of at once. Your song. You cannot have 2 or 3 conversations during a song and have the next song ready and even be on the mic at any point and do your job. It's stopping you from doing your job if you have too many people coming up. And do you ever find yourself getting too many people coming up and distracting you, I suppose, and not letting you do your job?
I suppose there's times when someone sort of, they're kind of just standing there and they're waiting, and you're sort of like, oh no, give us 2 seconds, and you're really trying to,
in the middle of a mix,
and they're there, and then it's a case of like, oh no, like, what's the crack? Sorry, yes, it happens. Again, you just have to kind of go with it,
and not let it annoy you or annoy you too much.
Again, every venue has their own unique way of doing things. At times as well, there's been venues where it's like the buffet will come out like at a time where you're like, I'm literally just getting
that
into
can wreck
it,
the flow for
and,
sure.
and the lights are on, or like there's and there's times where like the buffet can come out and it's right beside the dance floor, and it's kind of like,
some venues actually stop the dance floor, say, here, can you stop the music now, and we'll put the lights on and we'll wheel the buffet out in the middle of the dance floor. And for me, I mean, it doesn't affect me that much because a lot of the time I'm on after bands. But I've seen the band really do a good job getting the place going, get everyone on the floor, and they're told, right, stop now and come back for the other half of your set in half an hour. Lights go on, the whole atmosphere's changed, everyone comes up and eats their food, and then the band can never get to that same level again, no matter what they do.
And like the thing about it is, it's some of these venues, it's like from where the top table is. So then the top table gets taken down and there's a bit of a changeover, and then you go in and you load in and you set up. Once you're set up, you're kind of looking around, background music is on, and then you start. And by the time you properly get started and going, the buffet can be out 15-20 minutes after, and you're kind of like, you know,
it's hard,
so you have to warm things up again.
Sometimes I've been playing music when the buffet comes out. I'll obviously change that, but Bob Marley's a big favourite for me. Like, it just is a nice one, make everyone just chill out and eat their food and stuff. But one of your favourite songs, "The Red Light Spells Danger," I actually played that what I was playing it as a background as they were eating. People were coming up on the dance floor and and loving it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
ended up having to just turn it up and the lights are on and off.
I know.
They just love it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a balancing act sometimes with the buffet, especially or things like that. How if you're doing your thing and then you have to stop, it's hard to get that momentum again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good to know if the buffet is happening, then you can maybe plan for that in a way, or even just play. Sometimes if the buffet's happening right at the start of my set after a band, I'll tell the bride or the groom that, look, I'm going to start in half an hour. Yeah. And I'm just going to be playing background music and vibes. Maybe say it on the mic as well, so everybody knows that.
Of course.
This isn't me set. I haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
I'm just playing some tunes here. Do you eat your food? And once everybody's ready to go, we'll turn the music up, we'll turn the lights down, and then we'll go for it. And that's ideal.
Because then it's almost like from one extreme to the other. And again, you know, as we've touched upon it before, being sort of mic led and that wee bit of communication. Yeah. Guests really appreciate that.
So they know what's going on.
Just being able to say, you know, like, ladies and gentlemen, as happens in this venue, the buffet's out, so the lights are on, background music, don't worry, you know, as soon as the buffet's cleared, the lights will be off and we'll get straight back into the madness of it. That's it. You know, and you just have to take the rough with the smooth when things like that happen. Do you know what I mean?
Like you say, the mic's a big part of that kind of communication to the room.
Of course.
This is what's happening. I'm just playing some vibes here in the background, and then we're going to get into the party and stuff like that. But it does add a little bit of element of, you know, it's not just you're out there just rocking the dance floor. You gotta sometimes stop and start all over again.
One thing that did just come into my head there as well, and again, you know, I understand in insurance, and I understand sort of health and safety and things like that. So there's a lot of venues that are very, very strict on no drinks in the dance floor. And again, you know, you don't want anyone slipping, things like that. But a lot of the time that can be a bit of a vibe killer as well. Yes. Because it's like you play the bride, and I've seen it happen, you play the bride's favourite song, and the bride's standing at the back of the room where her like top table is, or the table for the receptionist, and she's cocktail in hand and she's walking to the dance floor, and literally meeting her at the dance floor is one of the security being like, listen, you can't bring your drink on, and she's like, and has to go and look around and set her drink at a random table and then come on, and you lose a wee bit of that like excitement. And like there's times where, you know, at venues, and that's what it's like, I say to the venue, I was like, listen, I completely respect that, however, you know, can you set a table up, you know, at the side of the dance floor, and I will encourage people. I was like, listen, you can't drink with your drink in your hand, but, you know, come set your drink right there and dance, so you're not far away from your drink. And there's times where I literally have this massive big flight case, I'll just set that there. Yeah. And that's what people can set their drinks on.
It's a good idea. That I never do the table thing. I find that people try and set them on my speakers and on my desk and stuff.
Well, I do that to make sure nothing is near the speakers or whatever. Yeah. But it's definitely something that, you know, like, again, I've just sort of, when I say give suggestions, and sometimes they can fall on deaf ears, or they can look at you as if like, what do you know? But it's not a case of like, you know, it's you want it to be the best it can be. The venue wants it to be the best it can be, you know, with the food, the decorations, everything across the board. And for me, it's a case of, right, you know, it's my job now to control this evening. And one thing that I know will affect it in terms of the energy on the dance floor is if people are like, you know, trying to hide their drinks on it, or they're just, they know that they're not, so there's somewhere you can set them. And then
makes it a lot better.
You know,
I've had a few gigs with a lot of spilled drinks and broken drinks where no one really said no drinks on the floor, but just drinks seem to be getting spilt left, right, and centre, crash. And it really helps when the venue's on that and come and clean up.
So
because
proactive.
it's for safety as well.
Of course.
But it's very important because a dance floor with glass and spilt drink on it is dangerous on a variety of levels.
Of course.
A lot of ladies like to take their high heels off and their shore shoes off, and they're in their bare feet or flip flops and stuff. And you don't want anyone getting a big cut.
Primark's still open for all the brides spending a fortune on flip flops.
But you do get a lot of spilled drinks and stuff. I had a bit of a horror story whenever they were clearing the staff didn't come and clear the floor essentially of the broken glass. So the people on the dance floor started doing it themselves. They're kicking the glass off the thing. It's going everywhere. It's going all over my bags, all over my stuff, underneath the speakers and all that. It's just like kind of tearing my hair out. It's one of those things that it's the onus is that on the venue. If they're going to be, they need to be on the ball there.
Of course.
And have someone, unfortunately, there with the wee pooper scooper and a mop and stuff and try and get, because if the dance floor is wet and covered in glass, it's not ideal.
No, absolutely
to having
not.
a good party, you know?
Yeah.
What about long drives? What's the furthest you've ever driven for a gig, and do you mind doing the gigs where you have to drive, or do you keep it closer to home?
So, well, I mean, I would do quite a few weddings in the south, which from a DJing perspective, you're actually playing like licensing laws. They can go longer.
So you're driving longer and you're finishing later.
I was a guest at this wedding as well. It was one of the owners of Bingo Loco, but his wedding was in Kilkenny. So that's a good 4-hour drive there. But I had to leave Belfast early to get there, and then there was the bus that took us to the venue. Now the thing with that was all the production, everything was there. It was a walk-in essentially. But I've done Harvey's Point. I've done I've driven to Sligo. Sort of Westmeath, just outside Dublin. Down to Wicklow. There's a lot of venues, and there's times where you're looking, being like, I'm 22 miles away from this venue, still an hour and a half away, because it's not motorways. Because you're just
Yeah. I've kind of got to the point now. If it's more than 2.5 hours drive, so if I'm going to be getting home at 5 or 6 in the morning, that's too much for me, because I'm prone to the and you do not want that, obviously, for everybody's sake. So if I find that I'm going to be out too late, I'm saying you got to get me a room.
Well, I was going to say that's the thing, and at the end of the day, there will absolutely be DJs closer to home, closer to that particular venue. You have to be professional in a way and protect yourself, but also it's a case of some couples will have their heart set on who they want at the venue or at their wedding, and if you're professional and you're open and you're honest, it's not about getting the arm in. It's not about, people talk about weddings and the price shoots straight up and it's so inflated. It's a case of if you're so confident and secure in your own ability and who you are and what you do and your business and your brand, and you say, listen, I'm going to need a room, because especially if it's in the south, you're on the 2 a.m. by the time you pack up, there's 3.5 hour drive home, and you've been awake from that morning, and it is dangerous. It is
dangerous. And I've I kind of happened to me one time where I was too tired driving home. I've had to pull over and stuff before, and it got to the point, if it's too long a drive or I'm finishing up late and they want me to stay to 2 a.m, because like you say, in the south, a lot of it is the 2 a.m, that coming home at 5 a.m and 6 a.m is too much for me. So I do like to stay down. The first time I did it was probably my most favourite time. It was Marquee Castle in Sligo, which is a proper stunning castle. And I got there the band were nearly on, and I was the last one to check in, and they gave me the keys, said, you're in the potter's shed. I'm down here at the castle, they've put me in the shed, and they said it's the far side, you walk right to the end and all, and I was kind of I was hoping for something nice. It was like a 3-story apartment with blew my mind. I cannot wait to go back there. It was one of my favourite nights away ever. I was on my own too, it was completely wasted, bath in the bedroom and all, it was absolutely class. Doesn't always work out like that.
You made use of the bath, did you?
It doesn't work out. I didn't even. But no, I did. I enjoyed myself there because it was so nice. But sometimes it's a wee treat. They don't always put you up in the castle per se, or in the venue that the thing's happening in. But it is nice when they do. It is nice. And you feel more, you feel like you want to give them everything, and if you don't have to drive home, you can, that's really, not a worry in your mind, and it frees you up to just enjoy yourself and be part of it. Because the next morning after that, breakfast in the castle. Now this is like you felt like a king or a prince or something. You're in this big breakfast room inside a castle.
Yeah.
But I was with all the guests then from who were there the night before, and like you kind of made friends with them. You got a good chat with them. You kind of met them the night before and spent the next day. And it really did. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't want to have to stay at every wedding, but for some of those ones in Wicklow or Sligo from us coming up here and like above Belfast and stuff, it is nice to stay down, and it kind of helps me do my job. So shout out to anybody that puts this up. We do appreciate it.
Well, no, we absolutely do, and the thing about it is, we understand that weddings can be and are very expensive, and there's different things, but it's incredible. It's such an amazing feeling when you feel like the couple are really like they're looking after you.
Yes.
They're like they really appreciate you. Like I done a wedding in Donegal in October, and the couple were doing a sort of engagement shoot in the Cathedral Quarter in Belfast. We met, had a coffee, sitting for about 2.5 hours,
making friends.
100%. I've got them on Instagram. I'm following them on their honeymoon. We're having a joke about different football teams and things like that, right? And I was so excited. They were like, oh, Dave, like we seen you playing here, and I was like, oh, I just knew I really, really wanted you, and we're excited to have you, and that for me was like, I didn't feel as if I was there DJing a wedding. I was just there
as a
DJing.
Part of the night.
Loving the tunes I was playing. I was just me, no dramas, and they were like even had a wee goodie bag and all for me driving home.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
And I was like, oh, you shouldn't have. You didn't expect this at all. But like, not at all. There's a wee Red Bull, potato, chewing gum, a wee sandwich. And then you're just think yourself, you really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference, and it helps the wedding when the DJ's happy. So that's why we're touching us, and it's not to moan or complain. It's just to say like the things that help us and make us.
And it's not about
happier.
It's not about that we love getting fed. But
speak for yourself, Dave. Well, listen, time to get into some of the music. It is the wedding party playlist. We're discussing at this point music that works, music that doesn't work. In this case, we're going through the decades. We've made it all the way to the 90s now. For me, the 90s is synonymous with girl bands and boy bands. You've got Backstreet Boys, Take That, Spice Girls, all that sort of thing. What are your kind of go-to 90s classics, other than the dance ones? Leave that for later, maybe.
Yes.
But the kind of 90s pop classics. Is there anything that you play there that really?
So like Bewitched, Say La Vie, huge.
Sounds good at a wedding. The fiddle and you get the Irish dance going on and stuff like that. I do play that one myself.
And there's a nice sort of you can have a nice transition from the sort of the 90s into your sort of your early 2000s stuff. I enjoy turning things on its head a wee bit and playing the likes of, we're talking about like transitions and and we'll talk about the 90s dance stuff, which I love in another show, but the transition of like 4 Non Blondes, What's Up, but going from that to the DJ Michael, but or doing your back to backs of like your Celine Dion's, It's All Coming Back to Me Now.
I like that. Now I really, really like that one because I've had the whole room, the power of that song, and when everyone's singing it, and like there's something really special about that. Some of the best moments I would almost say I've had at weddings is that song.
100%.
Just when you get the whole room singing, like a lot of it is we think about playing music, it's getting people to dance, but getting people to sing is so important. And if you have the room singing, that's almost even better than dancing because like the energy and the vibe and the togetherness, and you've got the whole room and singing the same thing at the same time, and I think it's even more magical than people just dancing. Now dancing's great and all, but if you can get people singing, you can really, really get that energy.
What can make things again like unique and things in a way that can happen sort of like organically, like your Run DMCs, it's tricky, or like even your sort of 90s R&B, like Return of the Mac, sort of things like that work really well.
House of Pain, Jump Around, now it has some very questionable lyrics in there. Do you ever play that?
That would be one of my big songs, and I love playing a transition from I get Chumbawamba into that, and and like a lot of DJs have their own sort of transitions, and not that you want things to be like samey, but you sort of know what works, and you know the kind of, you know, like how the dance floor can go.
We'll have a little listen to the House of Pain, just for anybody who doesn't know. You'll hear it, you'll know it as soon as I play it.
Just that from the very
even
start.
That's you know, even that gets the kind of going, but it's such a rocker. Absolute crowd rocker, but there are some very questionable lyrics.
Matilda, was it the house party in Matilda, I think? What am I talking about? Matilda, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I'm thinking movies. That's Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's certified 90s classic, and like, there's a lot of those kind of big hip hop.
And with the likes of Backstreet Boys, you know, so I Want It That Way. That's another great one. Yeah. Obviously, it's
sometimes I do a wee mashup. Do you ever do, you know, like you maybe said earlier in a different episode, you maybe play a couple of Westlife back to back if it's working. I find if I play one Backstreet Boys and it's working, I won't play the whole song, but I'll do wee mashups. I'll do wee mega mixes of the songs. With the likes of Everybody,
you don't need to play a full song of that. But with I Want It That Way, you know, you've got this sort of, you know, it drops down, and then you see when you have the bit and people are kind of doing their own harmonies. You are.
It gets the crack.
But it's funny and it's good. But one thing that I love doing this is, you know, it's being able to, like, you know, have the confidence to stop the music on a full dance floor and be like, right, we've got the groom, you know, like I need 5 other fellas, and you know, if there's a platform where they can stand on the stage or they can stand, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, for one night only, you know, let's go. And you play the Backstreet Boys and you've got the guys, and it's that thing of like, it's such a great song, you can just play it and it would work, or you can sort of put a wee bit of personality into it and do things like this. Again, it works great if you're a videographer, your photographer still, or your content creator. Mm-hmm. But if not, it's not even a case of needing to capture those moments. It's creating those moments. And people are just looking and being like, this is great. And you've got the guys doing their, like, clicking the fingers. And they're like, you know...
I find as well, if you keep the girls happy, you normally keep the guys happy too. The guys tend to go along with what the girls are doing.
You know what, that's a sort of an old DJ saying, you get the girls dancing, you get the guys dancing. And I love joking about that and playing that off the back of each other. Because there's sometimes, on a rare occasion, there's sometimes that the guys are the ones that are keeping the dance floor going. Yeah. And I'm like, bridesmaids, where are you? Ladies, where are you? You know...
we may as well talk about a few other 90s songs in the last couple of minutes here. Just a few honourable mentions, and again, if you guys want to comment and let us know your thoughts on your favourite 90s pop classics that should go into the wedding party playlist, that's what we're here for. We already touched on Shania Twain earlier in a different episode. Take That. Never Forget is actually a surprising banger for a wedding, and I'll have that for one of my closers sometimes. Spice Girls Wannabe, House of Pain we touched on. Cotton Eye Joe's a 90s tune. Summer of '69 is actually a 90s tune. You wouldn't think that? I actually always play out with
like an 80s style set.
With the Bon Jovi.
But I think Madonna, Like a Prayer, is 1990 maybe.
Yeah,
you know,
I have to check that out. But yeah, it's
but that's where there can be
Share Believe.
Oh, great tune! But there can be crossover across the board.
Yeah, you know, from different decades.
Like and that's a lot of people. You know, like I touched on your sort of your 90s kind of R&B type of stuff. Return of the Mac has such a real nice 90s sound.
I've got a big one for you. Coolio, Gangster's Paradise.
Unbelievable.
That's in that sort of vibe as well with that 90s.
So obviously that's massive in Bingo Loco. It's just that drop, and that's a good song to be able to kind of from one extreme to the other. Like you could be playing anything and just filter out and just, you know,
as soon as you hear it,
a little bit of dead air.
Such a nice start to the song, isn't it? It really is lovely. Let's have a quick little listen.
So, and just you know what I mean. Even if you're sitting down and you're going for it, and everyone knows the words.
Yeah, and everyone loves singing along, and you see all.
And he mentions Bangor. I don't think he's been to Bangor County Down, but.
But yeah, that's the sort of vibes when we're talking 90s pop and 90s hip hop and stuff.
Fat Man Scoop, you know, or Be Faithful.
Yeah. I actually seen Fat Man Scoop in Ibiza one time. Now, just walking down the road.
Yeah.
His name suits him. I mean, I'm a porty fella, like, but this guy was as wide as this console. Yeah. I'm not joking. He's passed away now.
So is Coolio actually.
True that. So we're kind of, you know, the 90s is a while ago now. You know what I mean? Like. for people who were in their heyday in the 90s, you know, we're pushing 50 now.
Listen,
do you know what I mean?
I was putting my passport details in, and I'd sort of seen the drop down menu, and you look for your year, and I had to go. I had to go, and I'm like, flip me.
That'll do us for this episode. Dave, thanks as always.
As always,
for your
pleasure.
Contributions. Guys, if you want to comment, like I say, please do let us know your thoughts, because there's a lot of tunes there to work from the 90s, so I really want to hear what your thoughts are, what you like to hear at a wedding, what you think should make the wedding party playlist. I'm Tony Legend. Big up to Alan here at Arc Media for doing the production, and our sponsor, of course, Starling Entertainment. If you want any wedding entertainment, myself, Dave, me and Dave, any wedding bands, anything like that, starlingentertainments.com. Shout out to Leaf Designs as well here in Ballymena for the set, and we'll catch you in episode 5.